What would you say to someone who's just not feeling that? Like, I look around and I don't see any guiding force. Stuff just looks
Right.
and feels random. It doesn't feel
Right.
like there's any, and you're just telling me to believe in that.
Well,
I mean, yeah.
here's the thing. It's like, I mean, we're really kind of getting to the core of everything. I have my own version that I sort of came up with independently of the fetus analogy that you gave, which is beautiful. Um, I once imagined a conversation between two fish, and one fish says to the other, "Do you believe in water?" And the other fish says, "I don't know if I believe in water. My grandfather was very religious. He believed in water." Right? That's the end of the story. Right?
Right.
So what's the joke?
Right.
The joke is that there's nothing except water. Water is the only thing that's going on. But you've got these two great philosophers, these great intellectuals, like speculating about the existence of water.
That they're
So we're the
swimming that
fish.
that they're swimming in. Right.
Yeah, exactly. We're the fish. The only thing going around, the only thing that's going on, period, is God. It's the only thing that's going on. And we're so immersed in that reality, we can't see it. We have this expression in English called hiding in plain sight. And that's, can you see air? No, but it's all around you, you know? So let me ask you this. A lot of people, I call this bad math. Okay, so here's some bad math. God exists to the extent that I believe in him. For you, Rabbi, God really exists a lot. But for me, God doesn't exist so much. Let me ask you something. If I don't believe in air, do I suffocate? No,
I hope
because
not.
it's
Right.
there regardless.
Right.
Air is there regardless, whether I believe it or not.
Yeah.
God is there regardless, whether you acknowledge him or not.
Yeah.
And out of his love, he continues to sustain you, even when you're making bad choices and saying that you don't believe in him. Right? So the amazing thing is that I was having lunch with a friend of mine. I said, "Where did you park your car?" He said, "Across the street." I said, "Do you realize that you can't get to your car without swimming through godliness?" Right? Like that, we're the fish. This is what's going on. So you say to me, what do you say to someone who doesn't feel it? I say, something? Mazel tov. Congratulations, you don't feel it. Does that mean it's less true? No, it's not
Right.
less true. Now that
Right.
the fact that it's reality, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I think we have to push back on this is one of the issues in our society today. Because when I started out doing outreach 25 years ago, um, I don't think as many people defined reality based on their feelings nearly as much as we do today. You ask on a typical talk show, the interviewer won't ask what people think anymore, but what you feel. Our feelings are now becoming reality, or at least that's the way a lot of young people are defining reality. And I think it's an issue for many reasons. And I think one of the reasons we're touching on here in our conversation, just because you and I don't see or feel something doesn't mean it's not the reality. It's a little too much. I don't know. I think we've just gone a little too far in the confidence that we put in our own, experiences or feelings. And experiences are important. We're all products of our experiences, of course, and our feelings we have to acknowledge. But the feelings don't make up reality. They don't express the reality. Especially when you start studying more Torah, specifically Kabbalah, that God has to create a certain distance in order for us to be able to benefit from God. I always love the analogy of the lampshade, right? How many bulbs do you have in your room right now that don't have something covering it? It could be in the ceiling. It could be, it's too bright. And we want the benefit from the light, but we can't get too close to it or else it's not pleasant. It's not something we can benefit from.
Yeah,
And
but at the same time, remember the light is within us. What is your soul? Your soul is a piece of God. So
yeah,
God is surrounding you, he's within you and everything like that. But see, one of the things that I think everyone asks themselves is if there's a God, why is the world so messed up?
Yeah.
This is everybody's question, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
whether they can articulate it or not. And the Torah actually has a brilliantly simple answer to this. You know why the world is so messed up? Because it isn't finished yet. You know, I like to give this as an example. Imagine you walk into the kitchen and there's a glass bowl with some brownie mix and a raw egg on top. And you dip your fingers in the raw egg and the brownie mix and you taste it and you go, these brownies are terrible. Well, they're not finished yet.
Yeah.
It's like, just like this world isn't finished yet. And that's why we were created. God made us partners with him in terms of finishing the world. You see, people get it wrong. They think that the Garden of Eden was this cosmic spa and we blew it, and all of history is getting back to zero. We're just trying to get back to the way we started, right? But that's not. My Rebbe said something so brilliant. He said, if the Garden of Eden was so perfect, what was the snake doing there? Right? In other words, that shows you that the world was complete, that shows you that the world was created incomplete. And that our job is to finish the world. How do we finish the world? Through the Torah and through the mitzvahs. Those are the tools that God gave us to partner with him in terms of bringing about that vision that he had from the very outset, which was a world of peace, without hatred, without hunger. That's where we're getting to. And how do we get there? Through making proper decisions, which means we need free choice.
Yeah. That is such the first of all, the brownie mix is a great analogy. Now you only feel that because you know what a good brownie tastes like, and you realize how ridiculous it is for someone to evaluate the brownie before it becomes the brownie. Okay. The problem, I think, is that we get so overwhelmed by our emotions of like seeing such pain and frustration in the world. And if God is supposed to be so good, how could God allow for pain and frustration? But if you're actually convinced that the world is here for a reason and not just to satisfy us, but the world is here to challenge us, to develop us in a certain kind of way, then it's broken on purpose. It's broken for a reason. Instead of complaining, how could it be so broken? Get to work fixing it, because that's why I created you in this place.
Think about, I'm just reacting to the brokenness of the world, which is, a kind of like, that's just a knockout punch for so many people. They see the brokenness of the world. And like I say, if there's a God, how is the world so messed up? They see the suffering, they see the brokenness. But let me give you just a different perspective of it, which is, think about Monopoly for a moment. What are the game pieces? So you want to play Monopoly? Okay, great. So you get the top hat, you get the race car, you get the wheelbarrow, right? Those are your game pieces, right? So God says, so you're in this world, right? So you're going to be part of the story of this world, right? So you get a little brokenness, that's your game piece. And you get a little brokenness, and you get a little brokenness. And everyone takes the brokenness, which God deliberately created, and you put it back together. You create fixing, tikkun, healing, where there was brokenness. And then you advance the world toward this epic vision. Why is it taking so long? Because it's so epic. I mean, like, I play a game when I walk by houses that are under construction, and I just wait to watch that final day where it's complete. Like, what about the universe? If a house takes a long time, if a building takes a long time what about the universe? It's so epic. But that's why it's taking so long, because it's like such a massive project that we're involved in. But how much more satisfying is it going to be when we complete the process? And the end was built into the beginning. Success is guaranteed. We just have to continue with the work.
Beautiful. That is a great messianic vision. It's such a beautiful way, David, of describing why, people have a very hard time like thinking about the Mashiach, like what is that? Like wrapping their heads around that. And I just think the way you described the epic, ultimate building of the world, the fixing, the repair of every issue and problem, it's like that helps explain why it takes so long, why it's so important, and ultimately why we're here. I mean, what would be the purpose if just, if God wanted to make a world filled with robots and angels and perfect beings just to sort of do his bidding? I just think this is an amazing, amazing conversation of some of the I literally had no intention of getting to this conversation with you, Dave. I want you to know, look at this. I have 2 pages, a piece of paper of questions of your life in Hollywood and blah, blah, blah. And honestly, you just demonstrated through this whole talk, that's not what it's about. It's really about what you and I have been discussing for the last 45 minutes to an hour. And I want to thank you for really enlightening me and our listeners. Sometimes we have a tendency to take a little more seriously wisdom that comes from someone who's made it in the material world, a Harvard grad who wrote for The Simpsons, but I think it's really incredible how you found this light, how you're sharing it. And I hope we can do some more learning and talking together